What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Thursday, June 12th, 2025. My name is Christopher Drummond. I am a freelance sports reporter based out of Minnesota here and proprietor of this podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder, where I bring individuals on to talk about their why and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a special guest that's going to be coming on with me today. She covers the WNBA as a sports reporter and also covers the Chicago Sky. She also has her own podcast called Courtside with KB. Her initials, her name is Karli Bell. And we're going to talk to her about her why of getting into sports journalism, but also get to know her outside of her occupation. She is a native Chicagoan, like myself, being from Chicago. So we're also going to talk about our love for the city as well. So without any further ado, I introduce you the wonderful, talented, and the beautiful Karli. Hello there. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, this has been long awaited because we have known of each other for so long.
I
But
know
this
it's
is
been a
so
bit.
so great. It's awesome to finally do this. It really is. It's awesome to see you.
Yeah,
Awesome to be on my podcast. Thank you so much for allocating your time. I just want to say thank you. Um,
absolutely.
how's your week been going so far?
Been a long week, very long week. Sky not doing well has been has been hard to cover for sure. So
Yeah, yeah. The press conferences have even been harder to look at because you could just tell it's starting to weigh on them a whole lot. No question about that.
oh, for sure.
And we can definitely get into that because we definitely are. Obviously, they dropped the first 6 of their 8 games. Hopefully, their season turns around, but we'll get into some Sky talk. But I want to be able to reiterate to you, Karli, why I wanted to have you on here before I started peppering you with all these questions.
Okay.
Obviously, you are a sports reporter like myself. I started in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm now out here in Minnesota. I've been
Nice.
yeah, so I was with the publication out here, but I also now do freelance. So I do combination of high school, college, and professional.
Nice.
And I know you cover the Chicago Sky. So I love talking to other reporters because we don't get a chance to do this a lot, which is tell our stories, right? We're so used to going
True.
to get the stories and talk to people.
Hmm.
And I like giving a platform for people to tell their story, but also people that are intrigued to want to do what you do to look
Mm.
back at interviews like these and be able to say, okay, maybe I want to do what she does. Maybe I have a question for her that he didn't ask, or get an insight behind the scenes of what you do because you're
Yeah.
really good. You're really good at it.
Oh,
No
thank you
question
so
about it.
much. Thank you. I
So
appreciate that.
absolutely. My first question, Karli, is the same question that I have for every guest.
Okay.
Um, and that is, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? Did you have any role models, any inspirations growing up? Did you always know that you wanted to do this? Walk in the hallways of Fenwick High School back then. Did you always know that?
No, I didn't really know what journalism was until I was like, I mean, you do because you read the paper and you
Mhm.
watch television and things like that, but sometimes it doesn't click that that's a gig that you can do, right? And
Sure.
I wanted to be a coach is what I really wanted to be. I love basketball. Like it's I played a lot of other sports. I'm 6 foot tall,
Yep.
so obviously I played the volleyball. I was good at it. It just wasn't, I was good at it. I just didn't have fun, if that made sense. Like
Right.
I
Right.
I really, really, really love basketball. It's just always been my sport. I picked up a ball at like 3 years old and then just like never looked back. Like that was my sport. But then I got injured and it ended any career or any option, any possibility that I could go play collegiately. I had a really bad back injury and a very severe concussion that
Mm.
ended that. That took a lot of rehab, honestly, and this is pre-concussion protocols, so concussions
Right.
weren't really taken seriously until like 2014, 2015. This happened in
Sure.
2010.
Mm.
And we went and we got the scan done of my brain, and they're like, oh, you have had the damage of like 6 concussions. And I
Oh
was
my.
like,
Oh wow.
yeah. So I had my first concussion diagnosed when I was 10 years old at a basketball tournament where I got elbowed straight in the temple. And then I grew up with all boys in the alleyway of my block. And, I was the tomboy, I just was the
Hmm.
girl that was like out there hooping. We play roller hockey, we play football, we play baseball, we play basketball.
Absolutely.
Little shoves into some garages. I had a fun time. And so,
Hmm.
but yeah, that concussion was kind of the end of everything, playing wise, because at the end of the day, like your brain is incredibly important. And I've unfortunately suffered concussions since then. It's just,
Mm. Playing
I've just
recreational, right?
no joke. The last concussion, and hopefully the last concussion I ever got, was actually I was covering a football game at my
Oh,
first job.
okay.
And I had a camera on my shoulder, and the I thought I was away from the field of play
Mm.
enough, but somebody came up from underneath me and
And
took
swoop
out
you.
my feet. And this is
Mhm.
on AstroTurf, and my head bounced. And it was not, I immediately knew it was a concussion the moment I got up because my vision went blurry. I said, I've been through this before. I know what
Right.
this is. To where I had to have the local police
Hmm.
drive my car back for me because I couldn't drive the
Sure.
hour back to the station. So, but I found this job, honestly. I was watching a Bears Packers game,
Sure.
and it kind of clicked that when I saw like Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, and then at that time Bonnie Bernstein,
Hmm.
um I was like, oh, wait, they're getting paid to talk about football. I want to
Right.
get paid to talk about football. And,
Hello.
exactly. And so I was like, okay. And I did digging into it. And what's crazy is, as a kid, anytime you got in trouble in my house, your punishment was a book report. Your punishment was to do like current events. Your punishment was to like
Mm.
do that. So anytime I'd get in trouble, my dad would force me to read the paper.
Right.
Look at how, things align. So,
Right.
would force
Right.
me to read the paper, and he'd be like, I want a 300 word report on what you just read. Um,
Hmm.
and he would make me present it to him in the living room. So he basically kind of gave me my television training without knowing it,
Right.
as a little kid. And so, then at Fenwick, I created the broadcast club there.
Hmm.
And now Fenwick is the only Chicago Catholic League school that broadcasts their own games, doesn't have to hire outside help to do it, because I was able to secure some contracts for them back in 2010.
Look
I
at you.
did
Okay.
did some things there, and then went to
Mm.
Ohio University,
You
studied
did.
journalism there at the Scripps School of Journalism, and worked my way up from being a video editor and videographer all the way up to sports director, and did some great things there, won some Emmys, and then went out into the real world, did give or take 5-ish years as a local sports anchor across the country. Then
Yep.
I wanted to move back home, and got involved at Marquee Sports Network. And then, just a few months ago, I decided to go independent, and I've now been going independent ever since. And
I love it.
it's different, but to get back to your actual question, my why has kind of changed a lot. My original why was I wanted to get paid to talk about sports. And then that turned into I really love storytelling and the multimedia facet of it, and being involved in like the growth of media. And now
Hmm.
my why has changed into I want to be part of the story in a way, especially in the women's sports sphere, because a lot of my former teammates that I either played with or against growing up ended up playing professional ball, whether that be in the W or overseas. And they these women deserve the coverage and
Without question. Yes.
they deserve to be taken seriously, and they deserve to be kept safe. They also deserve to be treated fairly.
Hmm.
And I want to be an asset for these women to understand that I am here to remind people that are just now caring that these are women, but at the end of the day, they're human beings. They are more than a stat line. And I want to showcase the humanity of athletes, because I feel with what social media has become, there's this like parasocial relationship that happens now. And
Hmm.
people need to understand that these are human beings that go through the same trials and tribulations that you do every single day. And just
Sure.
because they make a lot of money, that doesn't mean those problems still aren't there. And I want people to understand that and respect that, and really, really understand that I hate saying that sports are entertainment, because they are, but they're also a huge part of our culture and society. And it's one
Hmm.
of the only things in the entire planet that unites people of different backgrounds, different races, different ethnicities, genders, sexualities, all of that, all together, cheering on some kids that just had a dream. And that is it's such a great amalgamation of society and of so many different types of people that come together in unity. And there's not a lot of things that unify people anymore. There's so much divisiveness, and I really want to be a part of that unity. And sports have been that for me in my own life, and specifically for these women, I really want to make sure that they are heard, and they are seen as more than their skin color, their gender, their where they went to college, their stat line,
Absolutely.
that they're seen as the human being that they are.
I love that. Wow. You came out smoking. You on fire. Okay. I like
Lighten
that.
them up.
This is gonna be a great conversation. It really is. And I
Yeah.
love that why. I really do. I love that. And I love asking that question because some people fall into it. Some people know from early age that this is what they want to do. Um, I know Kobe Bryant is one of my people that I truly
Mm.
loved, and I love sports. And I was born in Chicago, so
Ah.
I was born in Cook County Hospital.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. What part
So
of
I'm
the
a Cook.
city then did you grow up in for a little bit?
Well, I was on the west side with my moms. My mother and
Okay.
father are both from Chicago, born and raised. I was just
Love.
born there
Oh,
because I
okay.
left when I was an early kid because my dad was
Okay.
in the Navy, so he
Ah,
relocated us to San Diego. So I grew up out in California,
gotcha.
but I always come back to Chicago because I still have cousins, aunts, uncles. I still have family there.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite places to go to. NABJ was there last year. What a
Yeah.
blast that was.
Yeah.
So I love coming back there all the time. As a native Chicagoan,
Mm.
um, are you a deep dish pizza lover?
No, 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 no. Tavern style is the way to go. I'll eat. Here's the thing: I will have a slice, a deep dish, a slice like once a year. That's it. Like, and I don't get it
Oh my
from
gosh.
Giordano's. I don't get it from. Everyone likes Lou's. No, I'm a Dues. I'm a Dues individual. I'm a Dues
Okay.
girl. I want to do. I just want to slice the Dues, and that's it. I don't like. But if I want good tavern style pizza, I get Michael's. I get Pat's. Roberts isn't terrible. But like Michael's has become like my go-to, especially because I live on the north side right now, so like Michael's is
Okay.
my spot that I go to for, or Pat's. Pat's is a little bit further south, but
Yeah.
in Lincoln Park, so but that place is, yeah, that's my spot. That's my spot.
Yeah, last time I was there, I went to lose. Went
Okay,
to
Lou's is
lose.
solid. Yeah.
I definitely know about Pat's because my dad is from the South Side, so he's from the South Side. Mom being from the West. My goal was to hit every sport in Chicago. So I've been to a Wrigley Field game. I've been to
Okay.
a Sox game, Blackhawks
Okay.
game.
Okay.
Been to the soccer games. The only one I
Okay.
haven't been to was a Bulls. Have not went to a
Okay.
Bulls game. I even been to a Sky game when they have
Nice.
At Wintrust. So absolutely. I definitely just want to hit the Bulls game though. So this upcoming season, I like to travel. I'll definitely try to hit that off my list for sure. No
For
question.
sure. Get it done. Get it done.
Yes, indeed. I'm with you on that. Okay, so we talked about it a little bit, or I should say, you talked about it. You are a Bobcat alumni. That's where you went to
Absolutely.
school from, right? Or you
Mhm.
went Ohio Bobcats. Talk to
That's
me about, were there any other schools that could have persuaded you from going to Ohio University?
so what's crazy is Ohio wasn't my number one choice, but
Hmm.
I'm very, very grateful and incredibly happy that I chose that school. I applied to 6 schools, uh, which were Ohio,
Hmm.
Mizzou,
Okay.
Nebraska, West Virginia, Ohio, Mizzou, Nebraska, West Virginia,
Hmm.
Elon, and
Oh,
then there's another one.
Elon. Okay.
There's
So-
another one. There's always one that I can't. Oh, and then OU, obviously. And so, my number one school that I wanted to go to my entire life was Northwestern. My grandfather taught
Sure.
at Northwestern. I just wasn't smart enough to get into Northwestern, and that's okay. Tests are tests are tests.
Right. Right.
And then I visited Marquette. I was not a fan. It just wasn't for me.
Hmm.
I visited OU, West Virginia, and Nebraska. I really liked Nebraska because I had family that lived out there. It was a
Hmm.
Big Ten school, so I could be involved in like Big Ten athletics.
Right.
And then I looked at West Virginia, and it was up there, but not really. And then I visited OU, and I never really like I liked OU, but it was one of those things where like what's crazy is the way that I made my final decision. It was like 3 weeks before. It's like May 1 or whatever that you have to submit like your final decision. And I'm up in my
Sure.
parents' room like 3 weeks before, and they're like, "Where are you going to go to school?" And I said,
Hmm.
"Well, now that we have," because I was waiting on scholarship money. That was the biggest thing. This
Oh,
was
absolutely.
that was very, very important. So Mizzou was, and I didn't get direct admit into the journalism school at Mizzou, and I was like, "I'm not." Bye, not going. I don't want to be there. I want to be at a place that I can get involved in right away. I'm not going to try and test in again. Like that's not what I want to do.
Sure.
Um, and then what's crazy is at the end of the day, all the scholarship money kind of equaled out across the schools. Elon, when I looked at it, I said that's a little too far from home for me. Like I wanted to be
Yeah.
I wanted to go somewhere that was completely different than Chicago. I did not want to go to a school where I was going to know anybody. I didn't want to know anyone. I wanted to be like a new person on
Right.
that
Explore.
place. Yes. And like meet different types of people than what I was used to, but I still wanted to be
Sure.
close enough to home where if I needed to catch a flight, if something happened, I could catch a flight or something like that.
Right.
And I remember when I went to OU and I toured WOUB, which is where I spent almost every single day for 4 years.
Mm.
And I was able to get in. That was OU was the only school that you were able to get involved right away as a freshman. Everywhere
Okay.
else made you wait until you were like a sophomore or a junior. And I sat there and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go here. And I just made that decision like in my parents' bedroom on like a Tuesday at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon because they're like, we need to know where you want to go to school.
Wow.
And
Mm.
I kind of made it on a whim. And that was one of the best decisions I've ever made. Athens is paradise. I have met lifelong friends there. Um,
Absolutely.
built an unbelievable network. And that school not only took care of me while I was there, it also took care of me after I left. I graduated technically a semester early, but I was able to convince my parents to let me stay another semester on campus because I already
Mm.
had an apartment and I wanted to, get a last little bit of partying out of my system.
I
And so
know that's right. Okay, you wanted to turn up a little bit. I'm with you on that. Okay.
fun. And so it also gave me the opportunity to apply for jobs that were in the area because I had all the contacts there.
Right.
And they always have this, celebration the Scripps School does at the end of the year where they honor, students with scholarships or awards or things like that. And I got an email saying like, hey, we'd like you to come to this dinner. You had to be invited because you're not just gonna go if you weren't gonna get anything. And I was like,
Okay.
I've already graduated. Like, what could this be? And I sat there and I knew there was a sports award, and I said, oh, maybe I got the sports, because you don't know what you're gonna get. Like, you find out when you
Mm,
get there.
sure.
And uh Bob Stewart, who was the president emeritus, Bobby Stew, love that man. They're going through everybody, and I'm like, I still haven't called you. Like, what's good? Like, did I win like a big award? Like, what's going on here? And what's crazy is they created a scholarship that year to give
Okay.
to graduating seniors to help them as they like enter their next
Transition.
phase in life. And
Right.
I was the first recipient of that scholarship. And that
Mm,
money, while people, it was $1,000. And while people are like, $1,000, I'm like, that $1,000 paid for my rent at my first apartment and like helped me, no joke, like I had no money and I was making no money at my first job. That
right.
$1,000 helped me put first and last month's rent down at my place with my roommate. It also allowed me to buy a bed. It also allowed me to like get my groceries for like the
So it
first
was
time I moved
essential.
there. It
It
was
was essential.
incredibly essential. And I will
Okay.
never forget when I got that scholarship. I got up there, I started to cry because I was like, because I sat there, I said, I don't know how I'm going to afford, because I still didn't have a job yet. And I was like, God, am I going to have to go back home and like
Mhm.
work at my old high school job? Like, what's going to happen? I don't know what to do. And when I got that, I said, this is going to go towards my first gig, whatever this. And I sat there and I started to get really emotional. I couldn't believe it. And I called my parents, and like, money was tight at the time, for the, it still is a little bit. And I said, I got this. And they were like floored. And I was like, I can't believe that this school is also taking care of me after I leave. Like, and that's why
Mhm.
I still am very involved with that school. I'm on their young alumni board with the Scripps School of
Okay.
Journalism to try and help
Oh,
kids that are there now. And I still do some stuff with the WEB alumni board. And that school taught me so much. It
right.
connected me to so many incredible people in this industry. And honestly, it brought me a lot of people in my life, but it really brought me four of my best friends in the entire world that I don't know what my life would look like without these four people. And they are my ride or dies. I have told them that, if I ever, make it big, that those four are coming with me because they've been with me through it all. And they are my rocks, and I adore all four of them. And I wouldn't have met them if I didn't, make that decision in my parents' bedroom.
I love that. That is
So
a dope story. I mean,
thank
just
you.
all of a sudden on a whim, you said, I'm going to go there because they're giving
Yep.
me an opportunity. They're giving me a shot. And it turns out to be one of the best decisions you ever made in your life. I
Yeah.
love that. I
Thank
love
you.
that so much. No doubt. I want to get into some favorite questions, Karli. So I'm gonna ask you these questions. You give me the 411 off the rip based upon some of
Okay.
these favorite questions that I ask. Okay, so here we
Got
go.
it.
Favorite meal you like to cook?
That I like to cook. Currently,
Yeah.
right now, it is a garlic lemon butter shrimp pasta with a little bit of with spinach and red and orange bell pepper.
Okay, so look here. Next time I'm in Chicago, and if you want to make something like that, just hey, don't hesitate. I will
Got you.
say hi next time I'm in Chicago. I'm just saying,
Absolutely. We'll make it
no
work.
doubt, no doubt, because my mouth already watering. You didn't even finish with what you were saying, and I was watering in the mouth already. I'm like, damn, it's okay. We starting off favorites like that. All right,
Nice little
okay.
glass of white wine with it too. Absolutely. We'll
Oh,
make it work.
oh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
oh. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay,
Okay.
here we go.
Got
Here
you.
we go. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
Chris Brown last year, the 11/11 tour.
Mm,
And then
breezy.
second to that, very close second, is when I got to see Kendrick Lamar open for Steve Aoki in college at a festival. I got to see Kendrick Lamar. That was right after. I am a Kendrick fan, but I always forget the name of the albums. The Blue. It was like swimming pools that were. Was that like Good
I
Kid,
think
Mad City? Good
Good
Kid,
Kid,
Mad.
Mad City.
Yeah. That was right when that album dropped. Not no, and then he performed a show at OU opening for Steve Aoki. Like, I got to see
Wow.
Kendrick Lamar for $20, but would be Chris Brown the 11/11 tour at the United Center, and I know he's got some, you know, things around him. I get it, but that's my childhood.
No
Been a
question.
Chris Brown fan since 2005, so
No
I've
question.
been a fan.
Ever
So.
since Gimme That, right? Ever since
Oh
Gimme That.
no! Oh, even prior to that, that first
Prior?
mix. Oh yeah, that first little song that he dropped when he was 13 years old on MySpace. That's how I found him. I have been
Oh,
an
wow.
OG fan.
Yes, you have. Wow, I didn't even know about the MySpace song. I know about Gimme That
Run
and
It.
his albums. No, okay, so if you're a real Chris Brown fan, what was your favorite Chris Brown album? For me, it was For All My Enemies, which that's the
Fame.
acronym for Fame.
Yeah, Fame. I would say Fame is up there. I
Hmm.
also will say that like his 11/11 album is really, really unbelievable. Like the new album
Mm,
that just came out. But I would
yeah,
also say, I mean, Fame is really one of my favorites, and I'd also say Exclusive.
Exclusive was pretty good. Exclusive
Yeah.
was pretty good. I have residuals on repeat. Did you see the YouTube video where everybody was trying to do the residuals remix? Oh, you saw that? Okay,
Oh yeah.
okay,
Oh yeah.
got you.
Oh yeah.
Mario did a pretty damn good job.
Yes,
Mario
he
did
did.
really good.
Very
He
good
did good.
job. But
Very good
nobody
job
can,
with that.
as Breezy said, who gonna sing it like me?
No, no,
Nobody can.
he's one of a kind. He's actually
True.
dropping a new song tonight at midnight.
You have no idea how excited I am. I have it booked. I've been waiting for it.
Girl, we are in sync. We are in sync like Justin Timberlake, girl. I like this. Here we go. Here we go. I love it. I love it. Okay, that's what's up.
Okay.
My favorite concert is Kendrick. I got a chance to see him about a year and a half ago when he dropped his latest album. Got a chance to
Oh,
see him. I missed him this time around when he came with SZA, but
I know I wanted to see him this year too. I missed that
I
one.
did see him at the Super Bowl because I went and covered the Super Bowl this year. So I did see him there.
How was it? Was it as amazing as it was on
Oh,
television? Because it was art. He is an artist. It's
I was
just,
shocked when Sam Jackson came out there. I was so shocked when he came out there,
I was
and when SZA came out, and the whole performance was really great.
it was
The
art.
message, just he's really a lyricist. He's an artist, and he's just different. He's so
He
different than a lot of people in this industry, and it was
he's
a
won
blessing
a
to be there.
he won a Pulitzer Prize for a reason.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. It was my first time in New Orleans, and I got a chance to
Oh,
be there for
nice.
about 6 days.
Yeah,
Media row. I met so many media people there,
that's
which was
awesome.
crazy. And yeah, it was a time of my life.
Oh,
I
that's
told
so cool.
my dad was calling me all the time. He said, "Son, who you meet? Who you meet? Who you meet?" I'm like, "Dad, I'm working. I'm working. I love you, but
I gotta get this done first. No, yeah,
right,
understood.
right. So it was pretty cool.
Nice.
Favorite place, Carly, you've ever traveled to?
Hmm. I haven't done a lot of traveling, in all honesty, because traveling costs money, and I didn't grow up with traveling money.
I
But
feel
I
you.
would say, uh, this
Mm,
sounds this sounds like solo brow, but I really love Vegas. I love Las Vegas. I'm a
mhm.
gambling girl. You'll catch me at a table for hours. Like I'll throw dice, I'll play blackjack, I'll play, I'll sit there, I'll play craps machine. I'll do it all. I really love Vegas, but then um I would also have to say like what I look like there's difference between like trips and vacations for me, if that makes
Sure,
sense. Like a trip for
sure.
me is like, I'm gonna go get lit. Let's go to the club. Like, let's go out. Like, I want to go see some things, all that jazz.
I know that's right.
And a vacation for me is I want to be sat on a beach with a frozen drink in my hand and not do anything. And like, so a trip, like for trips, I love Vegas because I love the lights. The people watching is unbelievable. I love to gamble. My boyfriend and I make a trip every year because his birthday lands around March Madness. So we always go out to Vegas for the first round of March Madness. And
Okay, now.
it's one of the I'm the girl there that's like with the spreadsheets going, okay, I think I'm gonna take Villanova +7. Like I'm sitting there trying to do all the sports
Oh,
betting. That's
okay.
me. But
Mhm.
then like to vacation honestly is Miami. I love Miami. I love the ocean. I need a beach. Like I like any body of water, I am happy. Like
I
that's
feel
what
you on that.
I need. I don't need to be on a boat. That's not me. Like I'll take it, but like I just need to be on the beach. Like that's
Mhm.
my solid. I do it at Lake Michigan all the time. Like just sit there, listen to the waves. Like it's just really calming for me. So I would say that a place that I want to travel to, that I've wanted to go to for a very, very, very long time, are two places. I want to go to Germany.
Mhm.
I've always wanted to go to Germany. I'm German is like my family heritage, so German Scott. So I really always wanted to go to Germany. And also, I've always wanted to go to Japan because I had a roommate in college who was a foreign exchange student
Okay.
from Japan, from Chubu University. Her name was Haruna, and I adore her. She now is like back in Japan. She's married with a kid and does all this stuff. But she taught me a lot about Japanese culture, and I sat there and I like I got a culture lesson like almost every day. She came in with like all these snacks, and I got to try all this food. And
Oh wow.
she
Okay.
taught me like how to speak a little bit of Japanese. She taught me how to write my name in Japanese. She was just a super awesome individual, and I want to go out there because I love Asian food. I really do. It's some of my favorite to eat, but like I want to see her and like have her be like my tour guide through Japan and like show me everything. So like those are
That
the two.
makes sense.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I want to do.
Well, I love the Vegas reference. Had a chance to go there last year for the NBA career fair. They do a career fair every year
Mm-hmm,
in Vegas in July, as you probably know about that. And
mm-hmm.
had a chance to go out. That was my last time out there in Vegas. I typically like to stay. Well, I'm pretty cheap. Because money does not grow on trees, as you know.
No, not in the
So Circus
journalism field.
Circus Circus was my go-to hotel.
Nice.
If anybody knows about Circus in the hotels there, that's probably one of the cheapest hotels you'll stay at.
Hey, Old Vegas is still a fun time, man. You never
That's
Circa's
right.
great. I love Circa too. Circa's great. So
Circa is great.
yeah.
Circa is great. I love that. My favorite place though is Jamaica.
Oh, I've
When I
wanted to go to. Oh my God, I want to go to Jamaica so bad.
Um, I was blessed enough last year. My dad put a cruise together for my dad's side of the family.
Oh,
We had 4 stops. In October, we went to Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Bahamas, and Mexico. So it was
oh,
pretty cool.
amazing. That's
Pretty cool.
awesome.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. I've always wanted to go. I've never left the country, believe it or not. I've never left the country. It's, something I've
Mm,
always wanted to do.
mhm.
It's just one of those things where money's got to align. And it's something that I want to try and get done here in the next 5 years is, go on my first international trip. I've never even been to Canada or Mexico. Like, no joke. I've just traveled a lot throughout the States, but, yeah, it's something I really want to do is, leave
Well,
the
well,
country
damn
and
it, Carly, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen.
we're gonna manifest
Okay.
it. We
Yes,
manifest
we are. You are
it.
talking about it. We are gonna make that happen. That's for
Absolutely.
sure. I love it. Now you're a sport person,
Mm,
okay? So I gotta ask you a sports question.
all
And
right.
I may know, obviously, I may know the answer to this one, but favorite sport that you like to watch on TV, favorite sport you like to attend in person?
Okay, the favorite sport that I like to watch on TV is football. I love watching.
Okay.
I loved. I grew up in a football family. I love football, but I would rather attend a basketball game.
Okay.
Like
I'm with you on that.
that. The other thing I'd put up there, like, I do like going to a baseball game in the summertime, like just having a dog and a beer and like taking in, especially I'm a White Sox fan, so like going to a Sox game and like hearing the heckling of Sox fans is something I thoroughly enjoy. And so, um,
Wow. You on the
uh,
north side and you a White Sox fan?
So fun story.
Mm,
I was a Cubs fan. My family
okay.
is all like every outside of my immediate family, everybody
Hmm.
is Cubs fans. And what's crazy is I grew up on Addison. So
Mm,
yeah. So like when you grow up on the
mm,
north side, you don't know about the White Sox. And so this is
right.
late 90s. Every kid knew and loved Sammy Sosa. I had the cardboard cutout of him in my
Yep.
room,
Hmm.
and I wanted to get his autograph. And so my dad got tickets to a Cubs game back when Cubs tickets were like $5 and not what they are now. And
Right.
we
Right.
we get there early enough, and I sprint, my little self down to the dugout, and there's this obviously like a swarm of kids, and I weasel my way in there. And I just
Hmm.
started playing softball at the time, so I had my mitt, and I saw Sammy coming towards me, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I start screaming. I said, "Sammy, Sammy! Oh my god, I love you so much. Will you sign my mitt?" Homeboy looks me dead in the eye and says
Mhm.
no,
Oh,
signs
wow.
every other kid up to me, and
Wow.
then goes out onto the field. And I was a salty little 6-year-old. So I booed the Cubs. I don't remember who they played, but I booed them the entire game. And I remember that they
Right.
lost. I was said, karma. That's
Mm.
karma. And
Yeah.
so we're in the car on the ride home, and I'm like, I can't be a Cubs fan anymore. Sammy would sign my mitt. And my dad's never been a Cubs fan. For whatever reason, he's a Yankees fan. I never understood that. He's not,
Yankee.
well, because he's not from Chicago.
Okay.
He's from Central Illinois originally.
Mhm.
And so I said, and this is how you know the Chicago in me was running deep, because I was like, I can't not root for my city. I just got to be a Cubs fan, I guess. And he goes, well, there's another team in Chicago called the White Sox. And
Right.
I'm 6 years old. I've never heard of the White Sox before. And
Sure.
so I said, I want to go to a White Sox game. So we go down for a game. This is right
Mhm.
when Frank Thomas got onto the team. And I'm standing there. I don't know anything about the team at all. I know nothing, but I got there early so I could like watch.
Sure.
And I see Frank Thomas, and I said, I don't know what whispering is still to this day, but I thought I whispered to my dad. I said, "Whoa, that guy's really big." And he heard me, and he turned and he goes, "That's why they call me Big Hurt." And I was like, is it because you're big? And he goes, and I put a big and I put a big hurt on the ball.
On the
And I
ball.
laughed, and I was like, wow, like that's so cool. He spent 5-10 minutes chatting with me, took a photo with me, and signed a ball. And I said, I'm a fan. And
The
I've been a
rest is history.
rest is history. And I've been a White Sox fan ever since.
I love that. Yeah, definitely a lot of my dad grew up a White Sox fan too. So that was actually my first baseball game he ever took me to was a White
Nice.
Sox. So I remember Frank Thomas, Robin Ventura, if you remember that
Mm-hmm,
name.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I remember those two in particularly. I remember those two because the White Sox used to they used to be okay. They were an average team, at least in my mind. And
They
then my
won the
dad,
World Series in '05. What are you talking about?
what I'm talking like '90s though. I'm talking like
Oh,
'90s.
okay.
'Cause
All
that's
right.
when that's
All right. All
right.
right.
Because
I was like,
I'm in my 30s. I'm in my 30s now.
same,
So
same.
okay,
So I
okay, got
understand,
you.
but I'm like, I'm on this. We gotta give the Sox the respect that they
That's true.
deserve. That's
That's
just
true.
saying.
They did beat to get to win the World Series, they beat the defending champions that year. They beat the Boston Red Sox because they were the defending champions because they won in '04. I
Mm-hmm.
remember that. So yeah, I definitely remember that. But yeah, my dad was a huge White Sox fan. My mom could care less about baseball. She was always a Bulls person, so she was
Gotcha.
Bulls for sure. But my favorite team was the Padres.
Okay,
Obviously, growing up in San Diego,
that
I
makes
seen
sense.
Tony Gwynn, Steve Finley,
Oh
Wally
wow.
Joyner, Kevin Brown, going to a stadium where they played baseball and football in it, which was Qualcomm Stadium before they made Petco Park, the
Yeah,
two separate ones. So it was just amazing to be able to do that for sure. So
that's
I
so
agree with
cool.
you though. Same thing. Football on TV for me, basketball in person. Um, there's nothing like now. I get a chance to cover some Minnesota Lynx games. Wow,
I've
that
heard the
team today.
energy up there is just well, yeah, well, outside of what they did, man, they really didn't look too good against Seattle. But
Yeah, yeah, that
but
was
that I've heard that place just rocks for them, man. Like it's just an amazing
mhm.
atmosphere.
Got a chance to cover the game three of the finals. Here
Nice.
prior to me going to the cruise because we had a cruise in October and that's when the
Yeah.
finals was out here. So got a chance to cover game three. It was electric. Yes, that was the one where Sabrina hit the game winner, the three. But yeah, it is electric. It's electric here. They love the links. I'm going back for some more games in July for sure to
Nice.
cover them because I love that. But yeah, no doubt. They did not look very good. My surprise team of the year, Carly, is the Seattle Storm. There's no
Mm,
question about that. That's my surprise team of the year because so far I did not anticipate them being over 500. I know they had some quality players, but if you
yeah.
look at their team, there's nobody to me on their team that's like you'll put in the top five of the WNBA. as far as
Okay.
top 5 players right now, in my opinion.
Oh, top 5 players. Okay, across the league. No, I see what you mean.
Right,
No, I would agree with
right,
that.
right. I think they have good players, but to be six
Yeah.
and four right now, to be one of the top teams. Now most people would say Phoenix, but when you get Alyssa Thomas from Connecticut, she was pretty good. And then you
Yeah.
get they did. I hope I'm not butchering her name, which is Sayu or
Satu.
Satu
Satu. Yes.
Satu. Uh, Obviously she's been killing it. She has the most 20 point plus games
Yeah.
this season. So she's been killing it. I thought Phoenix would be okay when Brittany Griner departed to Atlanta, which is also another good team in this season so far. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's just my surprise team. So I'm not surprised that the Lynx dropped their first game of the season on the road to Seattle because they've been playing some good basketball.
Yeah, they have. They have New York also, man. Good Lord. They're
Well, you
playing.
knew they were gonna come back. You knew they were
Oh
coming back
yeah,
and
for sure. But like
yeah.
I didn't think they could play better than what they played last year. You know, like that's I feel like they're just a really well-oiled machine right now. They look there's they have depth. They
Well,
know
they
each
added
other.
Cloud too.
That signing is that was one of the best signings, and I've thoroughly loved the Natasha Cloud content that we've gotten out of New York. It's
I'm
really been
sure.
entertaining. She's super fun. She's
I'm
super
sure. Now, last of the favorites, okay?
Mm.
Favorite restaurant that you like to eat at. Now, again, I would definitely be coming back to
Oh
Chicago because it's one of
God.
my favorite cities. But favorite restaurant you like to eat at? I'm a carnivore, so anything steak, rib wise, I'm with it. But what is your favorite restaurant that you like to eat at there, Carla?
Oh, you can't do that to me. Because I have like 15. You can't.
Well, give me a couple. Give me a couple of those 15.
Well, obviously, like for a steak, I'm gonna go to Gibson's. I'm gonna get a Gibson steak. I want to go to Gibson Steakhouse if I'm gonna have a steak. If I'm gonna have some good Italian, there's like a God. There's so many good Italian. Well, the good Italian spot I would always go to, unfortunately closed during COVID. But I would say, I would say Piccolo Sonio is a solid spot.
Okay.
These are like like sit downs. Like my sit downs and my takeouts are very different. Cause like
Really?
absolutely. Cause like
Okay.
if I'm gonna go sit down in a spot, I want to like have if I'm paying $25 for the damn plate, I want to be able to take in the ambiance of the restaurant. So, I would say, there's some good spots in West Loop. Some good spots in South Loop. Where did we
You right.
my
South Loop definitely got some good spots.
South Loop's got a lot of great spots.
Yeah.
I would God almighty. I mean my go-to breakfast spot, like not brunch, breakfast
Yeah.
is Taste of New York Bagels in Lakeview. That place is delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Based in New York. Okay.
Yeah, if I would say brunch, Three Arts Cafe is pretty good. But I would say, God, for me, I like a good hole in the wall. Like I want a spot that like nobody knows, like not in that Instagram hasn't found yet. Like
That's what I'm
that's what
saying.
I like. But like
Yeah.
if I had to go, like I love me some Harold's chicken. I love Harold's chicken with mouse sauce more than anything else on the planet. And I'm mad that so like when I moved back to Chicago, there were some Harold's that popped up on the north side because I would always go to the one on 35th Street. And then when I saw that it was up here on the north side, I was like, oh, wait, they're expanding up here. I don't have to go all the way down to 35th Street anymore. Oh my God,
Right.
this is crazy. And then I
Right.
had it up here and I said, this mouth sauce is different. This is not what I know Harold's chicken to be. And I found out it's because, yeah, they expanded, but like there's different recipes for the
Mm-hmm.
sauce at different spots. And I'm like, I'm
Okay.
not gonna come up here. No, so I still go to the one on 35th Street. God, I mean,
That's plenty. That's plenty because I haven't been to Gibson's. I've been to Harold.
oh,
I've been to Harold Chicken though.
you gotta go to Gibson's. There's no better steak in Chicago than Gibson's. And I know there are people that'll argue with me with that, but like there's a reason they have their own cut of steak. Like
How you get your steak done though?
oh, I get it. It depends on the cut. It depends on the cut because if I'm getting like a filet or like a strip, I'm gonna go medium rare. But if
Yep.
I'm getting like a sirloin, ribeye, something that's a little bit like fattier, I go medium because the fat then like infuses a little bit more
I
into
got
the
you.
meat. So all
I
depends
got
on the
you.
cut that I get, but I do like medium rare to medium. That's kind of where I sit. Anyone that
Yeah.
gets a well done steak, I don't know why you want a hockey puck. I don't understand it. And if you're
To be
putting
honest with you, I used to do that. I used to get steak well done. I used to, but then I was a little bold and I said, okay, you know what? Went to a restaurant. I was like, yo, let me get this medium rare. Let me get this medium rare. Try that. Because
and was your life changed?
my life was changed instantly, girl. Instantly. I
Mm.
was like, if you ever bring me a well done steak again, that's your
Oh, that's a
ass.
hockey puck. And then they're like,
Yeah,
well, I
straight
need
up.
steak sauce. And I'm like, because you got it well done.
Right.
You should not have to put a sauce on a steak. If you have to put sauce on the steak, then that means that steak isn't good. There.
Hello. You preaching, girl. That's what I'm talking about. Do you know how hard it is to make a black man blush? You about to do that. You about to do that. Come on now. Don't come on. Here we go. I love it. I love it,
Oh,
girl.
that's everything.
We're off
That's
to a
everything.
blazing start. I love this.
Absolutely. I love that.
Let's talk about your day-to-day operations. Now,
Mm,
as a reporter,
mm,
I know, you know, our jobs are never the same every day. Every day
no.
is something different. We're covering something different. Sometimes you get breaking news. It's different games, different opponents, different story angles, all the above. How do you prepare yourself to go in, day out, and do your job? Because not only do you do sports reporting on the WNBA Chicago Sky, you also do a podcast called Courtside with KB yourself.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
talk to me about trying to do all those things at once. How often do you do your podcast as well, and stuff like that?
So I love a color-coded calendar. That is kind of how I live my life, is by a
Mhm.
color-coded calendar. Um, my life right now is what's kind of wild is this is the first WNBA season where I'm not nearly as busy as I have been the last 3 seasons.
Mm,
Um, and it's because I'm not covering baseball. I don't have baseball. Like I'm just doing the W, which is nice.
yeah.
I like focusing on one sport. That is something that I enjoy. I don't like being spread thin across, like I did that for a long time. I'm not trying to continue to do that anymore.
I
Um
feel that.
so, but I live by a color coding calendar. Like if I was to stay a state, like let's say it depends. So, like if the Sky are home all week, I try to go to practice twice a week. I write, depending on what's going on, because how other reporters approach covering a team is different than how I do it, because most people
Mhm.
will write something on it every day. I personally don't feel the need to do that.
Right.
Because what I do with basketball coverage is not this person got traded or this person did that. Like that's not my coverage of it. There are other people that do that, and like kudos to them, because that is a different skill set. For me, what I do is more analytical and thinking project. Like if I had to do like a comparison of how, like, of what my coverage is to like somebody in another sport,
Sure.
mm, I would have to say it's like a combination of Woj, Wilbon, and I would also say like Chene. Like that,
Okay.
like it's kind of a combination of all three. Because what Chene does is like that she's got all of this unbelievable knowledge. She's her on the desk is one of the smartest things she's done post playing career. She's so talented. She's so good at
Yeah.
it. I want to see her in that role for a very, very, very long time. She's so,
Hmm.
so talented. Um,
Agreed.
she brings that knowledge and more analytical, and that's kind of what I try to do, is that analytical. But I also like to have the takes like Wilbon does, where you look at the situation and you go, okay, I'm going to take this analytical stuff and then apply it to like why this is happening in X situation. So,
Sure.
for example, when Courtney Vandersloot went out, everyone was like, Courtney Vandersloot's out for the season. And that's all people were writing. Whereas what I did is I said, okay, everyone knows that she's out for the season. I went, okay, now she's out for the season. What I'm going to take my analysis of the game. how I've seen this team move, how I know the W operates. So all of that information, and then
Mhm.
take it and go, what can this guy do to fix this problem? And I like,
Right.
and then and there's the Wilbon side of it. The
Right.
Woj is because of the relationships that I've built within the WNBA, within teams, within with players and things like that, to where I have a very good relationship with a lot of members within the front office and with players across the league. So I'm able to
Sure.
get information, pretty consistently. I'll say that consistently, not easily because it is difficult, but
Mhm.
consistently. And um so like that's kind of what I try and do. So like if the Sky are home for the week, like I try to go to practice twice, sometimes 3 times a week, depending on like what's going on that week.
Mhm.
I record the podcast every Sunday and I put it out on Mondays. And then that like podcast day, like all I'm doing is recording and editing, and like that's all I'm doing that day. Monday and Tuesday is like, and the Monday that I put it out, I am also like posting on social, getting everything out that day, making sure that like I'm cross promoting across all platforms. Tuesday, I do
Mhm.
the same thing. It's also like where I look at analytics, like what were my first day, like 24 hours, because that's where you're going to get the most traffic. So, like, how am I doing from like a numbers standpoint? Wednesday then is the Patreon day where I sit down and I do some film breakdowns, but I also do, I've thought about doing some history lessons. I've thought about doing, some long form stuff there. And then like that's Wednesdays are like Patreon day. And then, if there's obviously if there's a game in there, then that's all I'm doing is game day coverage with photos and
Sure.
and tweeting and writing and analysis there. Um, and then I'm making appearances, across the city, whether that be on 670 The Score, Fox 32, WGN Radio,
Yeah.
possibly, some other networks as well. I was on Holly Rowe's radio show not too long ago. So um that that's the other, and then podcasts with you, like, and things like that, like making appearances and just kind of talking about the team and going into things like that. So that's kind of like what it is on a week to week basis. If you would have told me what's it like last year, it's a combination of all of that while covering
And
baseball.
baseball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's a lot. And so yeah, like I'm kind of happy that I get a little bit of a laxer schedule. It's still a lot, but it's nowhere near as draining as the last 2 years have been.
I love that. Now, I did see that you are a basketball coach. Are you still coaching basketball?
So I coach my girls. I love my girls. I want to coach them next year. It's something I want to do. I just, at the end of the day, like my career comes first. So
Mhm.
got to see what comes about, here in the fall. If I can coach them again next season, I'd absolutely love to.
Okay.
I did some training with some I can't work with high schoolers or college, like that's not I really enjoy working with like the young
Hmm.
ones that are trying to or learn the game, understand the game.
Right.
That's where I have more fun is there, because I don't want to deal with the attitude and the drama of like teenagers. Like that's just not my vibe. It's just not my vibe. I have too much sass to like deal with them. And so I really like working with like the 10 to 13-year olds. Like
I
that's what
love that.
when I first got my girls, they had no idea any of the rules. Like didn't know what a travel was, they didn't know what fouls were, like they didn't know, like they knew nothing. They were just girls that
Wow.
wanted to play the sport with their friends.
Yeah.
And by the end of the season, they were calling out screens, calling out rotations, like actually like Coach KB, I think we can do plays this way. And I was like, let's go for it, And the first when I got them their first year, they hadn't won a single game until I took over, and we won 2 games, or no, we won a game, which was great. And then
Okay.
and then we won 4, and it's only like a 10-game season. And then we won 4 games this year. So I'm hoping that so now they're entering 8th grade. I really want to stick with them. They're just a fun group of girls. They really are. I want to see if we can get our win total to at least be above 500.
I
That would
love
be
that.
I love them. They're just super super fun. Such a that's what I wanted to do, and I found a way to still kind of get to do it, and it's really nice. I really enjoyed it. Get so much fun out of it.
Absolutely. Paying it forward, pretty much with your knowledge of the
Yeah.
game and how hard you work within this industry. I love that, but I definitely see why you could not work with high school and college. I
No.
definitely see it right there. You like, I'm not dealing with no attitudes. I'm not dealing with none of this. Like,
Nope.
and which leads me to another question, which is, what type of coach are you? Are you one of those that's, kind of a Phil Jackson? I'll give you the blueprint. I'll sit back, watch it. Hey, if you guys don't follow it, this is what's gonna happen. Or are you one of those coaches that's just super intense that you're always not barking out orders, but you're always talking?
I would say the latter, more that. So when I
Okay.
first got my girls, I said I have 3 rules on this team and that's it, which is we don't talk over each other ever. We allow like each other to speak our minds and we don't talk over or interrupt each other.
Hmm.
We do not bash each other or insult each other or one another, or coaches on this team at all. And then 3, during the game, the only thing you're allowed to talk about on the bench is the game. You cannot talk about anything. I don't want to hear you talking about something that happened at school. I don't want to hear you talking about like this boy that you like or this girl that you like. Like I know, like I get an hour of your time and that's that. And
Right.
I also say, don't speak over me. Like if I'm speaking, listen. And they didn't understand kind of how intense I could be until like 2 practices in. They were, they're little girls. They're 10, 11 years old. They're bouncing all over the wall. They're bouncing all over the
A
place.
lot of energy.
A
A
lot
lot
of
of energy.
energy. And when I had a group of 14 when I started with them. So like that's a big team of like a lot of different personalities. And there was a practice, they were all chatting and they weren't listening. And I blew the whistle and I said, get on the line. And they were like, what? And I said, everybody on the baseline. And I made them run. And I said, look,
Mm.
I am here. I am giving my time to be here with you girls. I ask that you give me that attention. And that's it. Like, and if you're not going to give me that attention, the door's right there. Like, if you guys want to play this sport, this is a sport I care a lot about. This is a sport that I want to make sure that you also find the love for too, because it is such a fun game.
It is.
And I want you to just give me that respect. And if you're not going to give me that respect, there's the door. And all those girls the next practice showed up. And guess what? They were locked in and ready to go. And I also like to have fun. I have I end every practice, we play knockout. And then,
Oh yeah, I
a
remember that.
classic. I have ways to like get drills to be fun. We play something called Bulldog. I don't know if anyone else has done that, where everybody has a ball and it's like just the coaches at the time, and their job is to get down the court without somebody swatting the ball away. So it's all about like ball control and guarding the ball and making sure that all that. And
Hmm. Okay.
if you get knocked out, then you become the defender. So then you're learning how to, swat the ball away. And the girls
Mm.
love it. They're like, this is so fun. And I'm like, yeah, we do that. And then we play something called home run derby, which is a dribbling drill where you're basically doing, it's all in the half court. So like you start in a corner and then you're doing just a straight, dribble drive to one corner. And I want to see like they're 6th graders. So I'm not like, if I was dealing with travel ball, this is not travel, this is a grade school team. If I was dealing with
Right.
travel ball people, I'd be doing things a lot more intense. I said, I want to see 5 crossovers and then you go there and then you're backpedaling the rest of the way. And then you have to get to the elbow and you got to shoot, you got to shoot, you got to shoot. And and then there's somebody that is trying to make 10 free throws and it's like a battle. So it's like a team. So 1v1, that person is
Wow.
running the derby while the other person's trying to make 10 free throws in that amount of time. And the girls love it. And then my other one that we do is I break them up into teams and
Hmm.
we do spot shooting. So I choose spots and I said, as a collective unit, you guys need to make 10 at each spot. First team to do it wins. And then they go back and then they rebound for their teammates and on the team that's still trying to get the shots down. So then the
I
girls
love it.
get to like learn different spots to shoot on the floor. And then it also makes it competitive. They're like, come on, come on, come on. So they like have the fun about it. So yeah, I try to have fun. That's the, at the end of the day, like this isn't, I'm not like a collegiate coach. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I'm not winning state titles. Like this is more for fun and for these girls to learn the game and understand the game and have fun.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. On here with Karli Bell, WNBA reporter, also Chicago Sky reporter, and has her own podcast, Courtside with KB on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. I want to ask you about mental health
Mm.
and work-life balance. And the reason why I want to ask that question, Carly, is because there's a lot of colleagues that I've known since being in this journalism industry that have left this journalism industry because of mental health problems, work-life balance problems. This can be a tough business because not just financially, but you're always working nights and weekends. For me, when I first got into it, it was tough because nobody wants to hang out with you at midnight on Tuesday when you're getting off. Everybody is asleep, you know what I mean? And it's just tough to have friends like that unless you have friends that's in the same venue as you, or same industry as you.
Mhm.
Talk to me about how you keep your mental health strong, but also still have that work-life balance because you seem like a wonderful person to hang out with. I'm very intrigued about that.
It's something I'm actually learning now for the first time. My
Mm,
therapist is fantastic. I recommend therapy for anybody. She has been really helpful. And then, you need to have an amazing support system around you to do this. Like you
sure.
can't, like you can do it alone, but it's a lot easier when you have a support system with you. Like my parents, my siblings, and my boyfriend, and then those four core friends from college, I wouldn't have gotten this far without them in my life.
Right.
Like no joke. And obviously I've done a lot of things on my own. I'm not going to not take credit for that, but having that support system is there. But mental health is this industry can break you
Yeah.
very, very quickly. And this sounds really like there's really no clear cut answer because it's different for everybody. You have to find something that you can tune out of work for at least like an hour a day. And what's crazy is now that I'm not, currently in a full-time position, this is the first time where I've actually had
Yep.
a break in 9, 10 years. And it's something that's very strange for me because I have been working since I was 14.
Wow.
And this change has been different because I had to find other ways to fill my time with things that aren't work. And it made me realize that I put a lot of my identity in my job.
When you
and,
work. Yeah.
and it which is not a bad thing, but it's also is a bad thing if like it's both. And I've really had to kind of figure this out on the fly. It's been something I don't have a clear cut answer to because I'm still trying to figure it out. Because for me, I've been a workhorse, like I said, my whole life. I have
Sure.
grinded and hustled and worked so many different jobs, odd jobs, in the industry and not in the industry since for a long time to just like make ends meet. And um it's you just need to know that if you're at your breaking point, either get yourself away from what's causing you to be there, or the universe will take that thing that's causing you to break away from you. Because
Right.
it at the end of the day, and it's something I'm starting to realize, this is just a job. It's just a job. It's not anything more than that you are 1,000% replaceable. And that was really hard for my ego to deal with. And yeah, it's really hard. For me, I've had to find things to fill my time again. And that's not and it has to be things that are healthy, because you don't want to fill it with things that are unhealthy. And for me, journaling has really helped me my whole life. I've been writing a book now for 12 years. So
Okay.
uh and I don't think I'm ever going to publish it. It's just kind of been like a free working book that I started shortly after I got my last concussion, and I used it as a way to make sure I don't forget parts of my life.
Right.
And so that's been helpful. You know, obviously, like basketball is not only a sport that means so much to me, but basketball like saved my life in a lot of
Yeah.
ways.
Sounds like
And
it's therapeutic for you.
very,
Therapeutic.
very therapeutic. So like going to hoop for like an hour
Mm.
it does really helps me a lot, because I can put all of my problems into that ball and just shoot the problem away, just shoot the problem away, dribble
Mm.
it, bounce it, like throw it at the wall. Like I put all of my problems in that ball and I let it out.
I love it.
And then don't read the comments. And that's
Mm.
something I used to be really good at. Now I gotta relearn to be good at it again. Especially being a woman in this industry, you know, you hear some shit, and
Yeah, you do.
you get sent some shit that is wild. And you have to have thick skin.
Absolutely.
You also need to know when it's an empty threat and when it's an actual threat, and you need to take care of yourself. And that is something I'm having to relearn, because I always had something to distract me from reading the comments. Now I don't have that, so it's something that I've had to learn myself again. But yeah, like there's really no clear cut answer, because it's going to be different for everybody. And all I ask is that if you feel like you're at a breaking point, reach out for help, whether that be your parents, your friends, your partner, a therapist, anybody, a priest, you know, a pastor, whoever that is for you.
Yeah.
Um, and then uh, I really am someone who believes in writing down your problems, because sometimes when you see it on paper, you see that you're kind of freaking out sometimes about nothing. And
Mm.
it can really kind of let it, like it's like it lets it out of you. Um but you know, just take care of yourself. And this industry, I really hope, you know, I don't know what the future of this industry is right now. It's a very scary time in media. It's scarier than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Like this is a very terrifying time in
Sure.
media. And I really hope all my fellow reporters, anchors, photogs, all of us understand that what we do is important and what we do is impactful, and those people that you've interviewed will never forget them, and that you take care of yourself at the end of the day, and know that whatever you did in your time in the industry, it had an impact on somebody. And
Mm.
that's why you get into this business.
Absolutely. I mean, well said. Well said. I definitely love that answer. You gave great answers all conversation long. No question about that. Um, this is a bonus question before I get to our interactive game, which is called This or That. But the
Okay,
bonus question is, do you think you can beat me in horse?
are we playing with a men's ball or a women's ball, and is it indoor or outdoor?
It could be however you want it. We'll play. I mean, listen, we'll play with a men's ball.
A men's ball outdoors, I got you. A men's ball indoors, probably you probably got me. I am someone who likes playing on asphalt. I enjoy playing, and I
Mm,
know my knees
okay.
don't enjoy it now, but
Yeah.
I thoroughly love
Okay.
playing on gravel, on asphalt. Like street ball is what I grew up playing, and that's what I like.
Oh, of course.
Hearing the feet
The
on that.
sneakers? Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, it's different. And alley
Okay.
ball, that's what I really, I could beat anybody No, I'm not gonna say anybody because no pro hooper. So please don't. y'all got me any day of the week. But
Right.
I could take a lot of people on in
The reporters though, the sports reporters that you know.
oh cooked. I cook outside of one or two. You're cooked. You're cooked.
Okay. Okay.
Cooked.
You know what? We might have to put that to the test. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
All
I'll
right.
tell you, I'm pretty strong in horse. Now,
All right.
if we playing 1v1s right now, you
Oh, if we're
probably are
playing
gonna cook me.
ones.
No, no,
Oh,
no. I'm saying
okay.
if we was playing ones, you probably cook me right now. For sure. For sure.
Mm.
But horse
I
shooting?
got you. I got you all day.
Uh, okay. We
I got you
definitely gonna
all
do that.
day. And in
We definitely
ones, you're not getting past me, my guy. Look, I was never the biggest offensive person, but my defense is on lock. You're not getting past me.
well, with you being 6 feet, that definitely will cause a little bit of an issue because
6 foot with a wingspan that puts me at 6'4". I am
right.
long.
Yeah. Yes. So that's a little bit concerning because I'm in boots. I'm not even 6 feet. I'm about 5'11". I think 5'10". 5'10". So in boots, I'm not even 6 feet. So yeah, but that's why I said in horse, I think I can get you in
All
horse.
right,
I think
all
I can.
right. Challenge
We gonna
accepted. Challenge
okay.
accepted.
Say less. Say less. Say less. Now we're gonna go. We're at the portion of the podcast where we can go to an interactive game called This or That. So, Karli, what I do with my guests here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast is ask them a series of questions, and you get to choose this or that. So, Karli, are you ready?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, let's do it. Which of these restaurants, if you had to choose one, would you rather eat at? Popeyes or KFC?
Popeyes.
Girl, we off to a blazing start. You on fire. I love that. Okay, here we go. When it comes to the chicken wings, which flavor would you rather have on it? Barbecue or lemon pepper?
Lemon pepper.
Do you like your wings wet or dry?
Wet.
Do you like your wings bone in or boneless?
Bone in.
So you like to get messy with it.
Absolutely.
Damn it, Karli, where the hell you been all my life? Golly, I need a friend like you. My goodness, it would have been great to just sit down, have a beer, eat some wings. Are you kidding me? Gosh, what the hell? That's amazing. That is awesome. Okay. Girl, that's what. Listen, let me get to three. Let me stop it. Here we go. These next four questions, I should say, are music concerts that you rather attend. Okay, so here we go. Which music concert would you rather go to? Beyonce or Rihanna?
Rihanna.
Okay, I like that. Which music concert would you rather go to? J. Cole or Kendrick?
Kendrick.
All right, I'm with you on that. I like that. Which music concert would you rather go to? Would you rather go see Drake or Lil Wayne?
Wayne.
You being solid, girl. Solid as a rock. I'm talking about
Tucci all
Ashford and
day.
Simpson.
Tucci all
Ashford and
day.
Simpson solid as a rock. I like that. Okay. Last one of the music. Here we go. Which R&B artist would you rather go see? Would you rather go see her or SZA?
Oh God. Oh, you can't do that to me.
Ooh, that was a tough one, huh? Okay. I like
Damn.
that. Yeah, keep
Oh,
thinking.
damn.
Yeah, that light bulb coming on. You thinking. I like that. Which one is 51%? Which one is 49%? You got
I'm
to
gonna
choose one.
have to say SZA by like a hair.
Mm-hmm.
I love her. I do. I really love her, but
Mm-hmm.
SZA's discography is something that I just enjoy a lot more. That last album, both of these last two albums have just
Right.
been
Fire.
unbelievable. Oh God, can I say both? But
No, you
no,
cannot.
damn. All right, I'm gonna have to go SZA. I'm sorry.
SZA. You know what I'm saying? All the stars are still a bop that I listen to. All the stars. Yeah.
Love Language is one of my favorites of hers. Is Love Languages.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
one of my favorites.
Yes, indeed. You know good music. I love it. Which sport would you rather watch on TV? Baseball or hockey?
Hockey. God, it depends. Oh God. It depends on who's playing, obviously. I mean, oh God. No, I'm gonna have to say baseball. I'm gonna have to say baseball.
Okay, I'm with you on that. Which sport would you rather play? Badminton or bowling?
Bowling.
Are you a good bowler?
I have broken 100. I have gotten above 100.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm not the greatest, but I
Okay.
can do it.
Well, that's pretty decent. Long you don't have to use the bumpers to do that, do you?
No, with the bumpers I can break 200, but you know,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but that's
We probably have
bumpers.
to. Yeah, right. We'll put you on the kitty lane with the bumpers. Do that. That's what's up. I feel you on that though. I would
Yeah,
pick bowling too.
yeah.
That's what's up. Do you like desserts?
I love dessert.
Okay, so Carly, I'm gonna name four different categories of desserts. What
Okay.
you have to do is choose one of these categories that you'll never eat again. So are you with me?
Okay.
Here we go. First category is ice cream. The second category is cookies.
Okay.
The third category is candy. The last category is cakes/pies.
Oh,
Which one?
I cakes and pies can go.
Oh wow.
Nah,
Okay.
cakes and pies can go.
Okay. What's
Because
your
I'm gonna be
favorite ice
real,
cream?
chocolate chip cookie dough, or I would also say Rocky Road or fudge brownie or coffee bean.
Okay, so I have not had those last three you said, but my second favorite you did say, which was chocolate chip cookie dough. That's my second favorite ice cream.
Love chocolate chip.
Um, my first one is cookies and cream.
Cookies and cream does slap. I'm not gonna sit here and say it doesn't, but like hot
Mhm.
take, I don't like Oreos.
That is definitely a damn hot take. Wow.
Don't like
Wow.
just don't like
Okay.
Oreos. I don't. But
What's your favorite cookie then? I'm intrigued.
oh, a chocolate chip cookie. I want a chocolate chip cookie. Like a chip, like I'll do a Chips Ahoy, but it no joke, the Jewel Osco chocolate chip cookies that come in the purple bag. Oh,
Hmm.
those.
So I'm a little weird,
Okay.
because I like the animal cookies, the pink and white ones.
Oh, I
Yeah,
wasn't expecting that. Okay. They're not
yeah,
terrible, but I respect it. It's not a bad take.
yeah,
All right. All
yeah.
right.
No, those are my favorite ones. Now I do like chocolate chip and stuff like that, but my
Yeah.
second favorite is the Pepperidge Farm oatmeal raisin.
Oh, I
Oh
love
my
an oatmeal raisin cookie. An oatmeal raisin cookie goes so delicious. Yeah.
God, definitely, no question. Do you like potato chips?
Yes.
Okay, same format. I'm gonna name four brands. You got
Okay.
to choose one of these brands to get rid of.
Okay.
Here we go. The first brand is Doritos. The next brand is Ruffles. The third brand is Lay's. The last brand is Pringles. Which one are you getting rid of?
I'm gonna have to say Doritos
Oh,
because
hell no. No, you did.
no, I did because this sounds I literally just had a conversation about this like a couple days ago. I There's something about a Ruffles chip dipped in
Mhm.
applesauce that just hits different. And I know look, I know. Look, I understand. I get that face from everybody, but you gotta have like an original Ruffles chip and
Uh,
just dip it in some applesauce. It hits, dude. It's delicious. And I like Doritos, like I like a cool ranch Dorito, but
uh-huh.
like I there's more range and flavors in like Pringles and Lay's than there
Very true.
is in the Doritos. So like miss it out on a cool ranch or a nacho, like I'm okay with because I could get like a barbecue Lay's or like sour cream and onion or
Right, right. You
things
right.
like that. So I know that's a weird take with the Ruffles dipped in applesauce, but it's like
Yeah, let's get back to that. The hell with all that other stuff. Let's get back to that. How in the world somebody put you up on that? Like, with this one day somebody come up to you and say, Carly, you know what, girl? You
no.
can try this Ruffles and applesauce because this shit hit.
No, it's something I figured this sound God, I sound crazy, but like when you would get your lunches like as a kid, like
Mhm.
in your little lunchbox. And
Sure.
so when I would get there was one time I had an applesauce and I had chips and the applesauce opened up a little bit in the bag and got on the chips. And I didn't see it, and I picked it up and I said, yo, what is this? And then I saw that the applesauce like spilled over it. So then I just tried it and I was like, oh, this is like my go-to
Okay, so it
snack.
happened by accident. This is not
Yeah.
something that was just planned. Okay, I
No.
got you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, you was a kid too, so you didn't know no
But it's
damn better.
still good. I still do it now. It's like a go-to like little treat. I like it because you still get like the salty and the sweet.
Okay, okay.
You gotta try it. Just try it. Just try it when you can do it with any type of chip, but it's gotta be like an original, like just a standard potato chip. And you dip it in regular applesauce, and your life will change. I'm just letting you
Karli, I promise you, I am definitely going to try it at least one time.
know.
And when I try it, you're gonna be the first damn call after I bite into that chip. And I promise you, I'm gonna give you enough. I'm gonna give you so much hot take on the phone. I promise
All
you, I'm gonna give you so
right.
much hot
That's
take.
fine.
Okay,
That's fine.
here we
That's
go.
fine. All right.
You did pretty good on this or that. There's no question. You are definitely the first person I've ever talked to that ate chips with applesauce. Definitely the first. No question. But I love that. I love it. That's awesome. What advice would you give to someone that wants to enter this sports journalism industry? And it's a two-part question. What advice would you give? And what advice has someone given you that you hold on dearly to?
Oh, the advice that it's the answer is the same for both, which is be a silent sponge.
Hmm.
That was the best bit of advice that I have ever gotten. Whenever you enter any type of workplace, any workplace, but specifically any newsroom in any way, shape, or form, you're the lowest on the totem pole because you just got there.
Yep.
So go around, ask questions, and just be silent and take it all in. Be a silent sponge. Don't be, there's no such thing as a bad question. Like ask any question that you have
Right.
and take it in and you don't have to take everyone's advice, obviously. Take the advice that resonates the best with you.
Yeah.
But I would absolutely say be a silent sponge. The answer is the same for both. But I would also say if you're going to get into this industry, be prepared to not make good money for 10 years. Be willing to relocate to any part of the country.
That's big. Absolutely.
And remember that sports are played nights, weekends, holidays. So if you're willing to give up your nights, weekends, and holidays to do this, especially right when you're starting out,
Mm-hmm.
then don't complain about the not, I missed out on a lot of weddings and family events and friends events when I first got into this industry. And
Right.
you have to be able to deal with it. And if you can't deal with it, then this industry isn't cut out for
Not for
you.
you.
And this industry is 90% who you know and 10% what you know.
Right.
Contacts and networking means a lot more than sometimes what you know, because a lot of this stuff that you can learn on the fly, and you need to be a fast learner. You need to be able to talk to about anybody about anything.
Sure.
And you need to be nice and kind and professional to everybody, because your impression that you make on people matters.
Without
And
question.
I have gotten every job that I have gotten because of references except one. So I've only had to make one resume in my whole life. I've gotten every job because of somebody that I know. So
Right.
build your Rolodex, which sounds outdated, but it's true. And build your Rolodex, have that contact list be long in your phone, and be a silent sponge wherever you go. That was the best advice I ever got in college. And I run with that still to this day. Everywhere I go, silent sponge.
Love it. I do. And I love what you said about I love what you said about the holidays, the nights and weekends, being prepared, being professional. This is why, Karli, I do this podcast. And it's a little different from other people's podcasts, but I like doing this because people need to know, especially college graduates and people that want to get into this industry. They see you on TV, they see you on social media, they see you reporting. They're like, oh man, she must got it made. She's doing her thing, she's covering a professional team. And they don't know the behind scenes work
Mm-hmm.
that you do. They really
Mm-hmm.
don't. They don't know how much time that you put in. They don't know how much you got to grind. They don't know how much you're doing on the side and other stuff going on. Like you said, You just didn't cover WNBA. You also covered baseball as well. And unless people know you and they follow you, then they're not going to know what your grind is. And people normally don't know until they get into them shoes, right? Because all they can go off is perception. All they can go off is what they see on social media. And I
Mhm.
always tell younger kids, look, man, you should shadow somebody. Shadow people and get a feel for what you're about to get into. But also don't have one foot in. This is not an industry where you can half-ass it. You
Mhm.
can't have one foot in and one foot out. You
Mhm.
got to be all the way in. And that's where it leads into that holidays, nights, and weekends. A lot of times people don't want to give those up. They want to go on vacations and trips and visit family and Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you have a lot of games and tournaments at
Well,
that
guess
time.
what people are watching at nights, weekends, and holidays? They're
Sports,
watching what your work. So you have to be willing to have that.
right? And that's in any genre as well. We do
True.
sports, you and I, but
Yeah.
it's also in entertainment, news. None of that stops. It
Mm-hmm.
never stops because it's a
Mm-hmm.
holiday or nights and weekends.
Truth.
So if you want to be in the media industry, these are the sacrifices that you're going to have to make. And that's again why I do this podcast, because so many people have stories of making that sacrifice. And it's so many different ways that you can make it, but you got to know that it has to be made. So
It's
I
very true.
love that. I love that. I want to ask you a top four question.
Okay.
And this top four question is, who are a top four people that you have personally interviewed that were memorable interviews for you?
Dwayne Wade was
Mm,
a very awesome interview when he put in a minority ownership to the sky, and I got to meet him and have a conversation with him. That was really cool.
okay.
I mean, I interviewed Angel Reese. That was really awesome. And I would put both of them in that category because I interviewed them shortly after they joined the Sky, and
You talking
that
about
was
Cardosa?
yeah, Camilla and
Okay.
Angel. I did a combo interview with them that went really well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I interviewed Tom Thayer, which was
Mm,
a really cool interview. He was getting inducted into the Illinois High School Sports Hall of Fame, and I happened to be in Springfield, and I interviewed him for that, and it went really well. Did a live hit with him. He was a really kind, genuine individual that was super super great.
that's awesome.
Um, I gotta think. Where's some other ones? Uh
Give me one more. Give me one more.
Somebody that, I mean, there's a difference between like that I've had a one-on-one interview and like one that I've been like part of a scrum with. But like I feel the last one that I would say that was not like one-on-one, but was like a scrum style uh was Candace Parker. That
Wow.
was, you
That's
know,
big. That's
I
big.
never got to have a one-on-one with her, and I will in my lifetime. I know I will. But I got to be part of a scrum and like be in her presence, and I got to talk to her several times while she was part of the 2022 Chicago Sky team. And that was like I was like in the presence of my hero.
Sure.
That was like I like I was never really present, and that's why I got nervous asking her some questions because I was like,
Sure.
and so
Sure.
um I would have to say that. But there's been people that I've met in the industry
Hmm.
that I've had, because I don't always like to make everything an interview. I like sometimes just things to be a conversation.
Absolutely.
Um and like people that I've had conversations with, Shaq was really cool. Mike Wilbon,
Hmm.
um Ryan Dempster, and then and I would also I mean Carlos Pena is a really cool person
Mm.
that I've really come to enjoy. He's a very sweet man that we kind of created a little friendship. So he's been a really cool person that I've gotten to know here over the last few years for sure.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Those list of people that you talk about. That is absolutely amazing. I love that. Before I let you go, we got to get to some Chicago Sky talk.
Mm,
As we mentioned before, obviously they dropped their first 6 of 8 games. It's interesting because there's two, if I saw correctly, two of the 13 teams have already played 11 games. And then there's only two of the other 10 teams, the Sky and the Vegas, the Aces, they've only played 8. And then you got so many different teams playing differential type of games going on.
mhm.
Now, here's my opinion, and this is just strictly my opinion. They never should have got rid of Teaspoon. Obviously, I'm not there in the organization. Don't know what's going on. Don't know what happened or don't or transpired. But I don't think they should never got rid of her. I thought she was a great coach, in my opinion. But talk to me about the struggles of the Chicago Sky. Obviously, losing Vandersloot, Haley Van Lith is going to be playing more minutes now, with Vandersloot being gone. But talk to me about just the early season struggles of the Chicago Sky and what is it going to take for them to turn this around?
What's kind of crazy is like this team on paper prior to the Vandersloot injury was a team that could be a top 5, top 6 team on paper, on paper.
Mm, sure.
And then when I saw the preseason, I was like, oh, okay, I kind of understand what they're trying to do. And it was effective. So I was like, and I'm like, granted, it's preseason, but I got a glimpse of what they were trying to do. And I was
Sure.
like, oh, okay, I got you. This makes sense. This should work. And then that first game came around, and I was like, well, where was what I saw 3 weeks ago? Like,
Right. It
what,
had you
what?
bewildered a little bit.
Yeah. And then I'm like, if this is how they're going to start, then that New York game is going to be a chop. And I was not wrong.
No, you wasn't.
And then,
They got kicked pretty bad.
yeah. And then when they played LA, they actually played really well. They just don't defend the 3-point line. And that has been a huge problem for the Scott. That and turnovers. There's zero defensive identity in this
Mhm,
team. It
mhm.
doesn't exist right now. It hasn't existed and it still doesn't exist. Um, and now you don't have the identity of this team. That the identity of this team is gone for all of 2025.
Mhm.
There's some things that kind of worried me when you had Courtney Vandersloot, who's 36 years old, playing 30 plus minutes a game. That's a lot on older
A
knees.
36-year-old body. Yep.
Yeah. And so that started to really scare me, especially when she was playing heavy minutes against Dallas. I was like, of all
Which,
teams,
to put in
like,
context for everybody to know, Dallas is 1-10 on the season.
right.
They're
So
1-10.
it's frankly, I don't know what the rest of this season is going to look like. I
Mhm.
can't really pinpoint it because if I'm the general manager right now, you don't do anything until after this weekend. You let this team play Atlanta and you let this team play Connecticut and you see what the outcome of those two games are. And if both of them are losses, then you start making some phone calls and you're either waiving a player or you're making trades because and I'm going to say it, if the Sky don't make the playoffs this year, there's a very high chance that Marsh and Jeff will not be here next year, in my personal opinion,
Yeah, it should
because
be that way. It should
at
be.
well, a lot of it, I can't really blame Marsh. I can, but at the end of the day, it's about roster construction.
Mhm.
And when you construct a roster where you only have one point guard, like that's not building depth.
Right.
So and I know that they were trying to have Haley Van Lith be the point guard and have it be gradual development. But as we've seen, she's just not doing well at that position. So who do you have? You don't have anybody. Ariel Atkins is a pure shooting guard. Rachel Banham's a pure shooting guard. Kian Nurse, you can't have her do it, but you don't want her doing it. You should not have Angel bringing the ball up, but I understand why they're doing it to slow the game down. But as we saw against New York this past earlier this week, it was that was one of the worst starts to a game that they've had all season. And all season. Like and they opened what's crazy is statistically they actually opened up better against the Indiana Fever in their season opener than they did against New York.
And for those that, again, for putting context what you just said, they lost by 35 in that game to Indiana. I believe it was 93-58.
It
They lost.
was terrible. And
Yeah, it was bad.
so it's I don't know what you do because it's all
I don't
like
know who you're gonna trade. Who can you trade?
you
Who can you go
trade
pick
you
up?
trade either Angel or Camilla, or you
Mm.
trade Elizabeth Williams, or you trade Kia Nurse.
I can see Nurse. I can see Nurse. It'll be hard to get a package for a Reese, or because Reese was what she led the league in rebounding last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It's just very hard to get. I mean, to trade that, they're gonna want to get something equivalent or even better back. And who do you set a trade with? Who
Well,
would need
that's
somebody like that?
that's the big question, is you don't really
Hmm.
know who needs that size right now. Like, you could technically say Las Vegas, now that Asia's dealing with an injury. Like, Las Vegas more than ever right now is really in need of some size. I would
Mm.
also I would say, prior to their game against Minnesota, I would say Seattle, but I think Seattle's doing fine.
Yeah,
I
I think
think
they're good.
I think Golden State would be a team that could entertain something. I think Dallas would be a team that could entertain something. I would also say Connecticut. I would also say I
Mm.
don't know if they do it. I don't know if they do it, but you can entertain it. It would be Washington. But
Mm.
because Atlanta's doing pretty good right now too.
Right,
So
right, right. I definitely see
it,
the Aces. You got me
I
with the Aces.
I could see Atlanta, because you could do an Ewell trade to Atlanta and get a guard in return. Um, because then you provide depth behind BG and Brianna Jones down there. So you have, they're getting depth, and then the Sky get a guard out of it, because
I can see
the
that.
Atlanta's really guard heavy more than other
Hmm.
teams. So that's the thing, is I don't know what you do.
Mm.
In some statements that came out earlier this week, they're not hitting the panic button. And I would agree. I think to hit the panic button right now is way too early.
Sure.
You have to let these two games play out before you do anything. Um, and then you have to start doing something, because if you don't, then that says a lot about ownership. That says a lot about the front office. And I frankly can't really put all of this on Marsh.
Oh
You
no,
can put
definitely not.
some of it on Marsh, but you can't put all of it on him.
No.
And that's where, if I'm going to be completely, I can almost guarantee it. If they don't make the playoffs this year, they're both gone.
They're not gonna make the playoffs. I'm
Well,
booking it right
look,
here.
look,
They're not gonna make the playoffs.
you can't ever say that, because it's still early in the season.
Uh,
Anything can happen, because I'm going to say this. The last
okay.
time this guy started this poorly was in
Hmm.
2021, and this guy won the championship in 2021. But you also can't compare those two teams, because you have
Right.
Candace Parker, Quigley,
Hmm.
Vandersloot. But that's what I'm saying, is just because of how a team starts doesn't mean that's in any league, more
Oh,
than
sure.
ever, is the WNBA. What matters now is how the Sky finish out June into the All-Star break. If they are 500 of those games
Hmm.
heading into the All-Star break, then you're doing okay. But if they lose out, I wouldn't be shocked if there's a mid-season firing. I wouldn't be shocked if there's trades that happen before the All-Star break. I would
Sure.
not be shocked at all that something happens. I also know that it kind of makes sense for this guy to wait until Eurobasket is done,
Yeah.
because then you can bring in an international player. So
Hmm.
that's why I think you give this 2 weeks, give it 2-3 weeks, see what
I
happens.
could I could see your point. I really could. I could see that point. To me, it's not really about the Sky. It's just so much about the teams ahead of them.
Mm,
Because you only get 8 spots out of
yeah.
and so 5 teams are going to be left out. And I don't think the Wings are going to improve to the point where they'll make it. It's just tough for me for me to fathom in my mind that the Sky is going to be better than any of the teams that's going to be ahead, right?
The
You have the
well, I mean, they could be better than Golden State. They could be better than Washington. You know, like
I
I don't
like
want to.
Golden State. I
I
like
do
Golden
too.
State what they're doing. What
I do
they're doing
too.
right now is pretty good. Now, you right with about the Mystics though. The Mystics, they can possibly pass them for
Yeah,
sure.
they could possibly also pass Golden State. I would also say, again, depending on injuries, Vegas
Mm-hmm.
could fall very far and the Sky could pass Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm.
what's kind of crazy is you know who the top four teams are, which is New York, and it's not in any order, but New York, Minnesota, Atlanta, and now
Phoenix.
Seattle. I would say Seattle over Phoenix right now.
Oh
I
wow.
would say
Okay.
Seattle is a better team than Phoenix right now.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I want to see how Phoenix handles when I think Natasha Mack's coming back soon. Kalia Copper will come back later on. So, like at this point in time, as of June 12th, I would say that Seattle is the better team than Phoenix at this time. Could that change here in the
Sure.
next like 2 weeks? 1,000%. But
Sure.
I think everybody also knows that who's going to be in the finals this year, which is kind of sad. Like you want to see fun playoffs, but I don't see, I mean, granted, we just
Mm-hmm.
saw Seattle beat Minnesota, but I don't see
Not multiple
Minnesota.
games.
Exactly. I don't see that happening for either New York or Minnesota. So
Right.
um I think we're gonna get a rematch of what we got last year and we'll see what plays out. But like these next 2 to 3 weeks for the Sky are like honestly dependent on like it's job time. This is where you're in the hot seat if you're Jeff and Marsh. I don't believe firing Marsh in the middle of the season would be a smart idea. I think that would actually do worse things for the
Sure.
team. I think if they were to release anyone in the middle of the season, it would be Jeff.
Wow. What a compelling, obviously, statement. It's just interesting, right? Because like I said, last year I thought this team was exciting to watch. With Teaspoon under them, Teaspoon doing her thing.
Yeah, but their
Um,
offense last year was terrible. Like you can't sit here and tell me that their offense was good to watch.
it wasn't. It wasn't. And Teaspoon is not really an offensive type of person. You know what I mean? Like as far as if you know her
No,
game was
for sure.
always to
She's always
facilitate,
defense. Right.
always defensive facilitation. And I totally get that. But I also, and it is early because they do have 26 more games left to go. However, you can just start to see each loss. It's not just that they're losing. I mean,
Yeah,
Carly,
they're getting blown.
they getting their ass beat.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
getting
just
blown.
right. So it's a matter of how they're losing. It's also a matter of what they did in the off season as well. You thought that you were putting the team together. It's like, wow, there's some good names, good things here. But the depth is the first thing that I saw with this roster was the depth of the point guard. You got Vandersloot, who's 36 years old. You got a rookie that's coming in who didn't really play point guard well with Angel Reese at LSU. If you paid attention to her, that's why she transferred to TCU. So it's just to me, the Chicago Sky is a team that's kind of, we're waiting to see if they're ever going to pop. And like you said, I don't think they're going to beat the Dream. They got a chance,
They
obviously, in
have a
both
better
games.
chance at beating Atlanta than they did New York.
I'll give you that. I'll
That's
give you
more of what
that.
that's what I mean by it's a little bit more winnable. They had no
Sure.
shot beating New York.
No,
But
no,
the
they don't.
fact that they kept it within 20 for a little bit was a good thing. Like I thought that was going to be a 30 to 40 point loss and it wasn't. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is that players after the game said they're like, we know that we are not executing. Like we feel it. We know it. We're not. And they're saying we're not fighting and pointing fingers at each other. We're all not doing what we need to be doing. And so to hear
Mhm.
that accountability is a good thing. And
Very good.
but accountability is one thing, results are another. So, it
And this is a results business. That's what it
truth.
is.
I do think that if they can pull it together, they can beat some teams that they shouldn't beat. But it's
Yeah.
all about whether or not they can pull it together. And I'm not in the
I like
locker
that.
room. I don't know what's going on in there. But it's one of those things where you sit there and you're like, you need to figure this out now. You have like a
Absolutely.
week, 2 weeks to figure this out. And you
Right.
don't have an Olympic break like you did last year. So
Yep. Yeah, no doubt. I love that. Carly, this has been a really dope conversation just to be able to talk to you about basketball, talk to you about your upbringing, being a native Chicagoan, going to a Fenwick High School, being able to go to Ohio University, being able to, live out your dream, but also grind through it. And nothing's been easy, nothing's been given to you, everything has been earned. You gave some great advice. And you even did the this or that game pretty well, except the chips and applesauce shit. But other than that, that's all right.
You're
But that's
gonna
all right.
try it and you're gonna love it. I'm telling you that right now. You're gonna try it and you're gonna love
Okay. Yep. Hell
it.
may freeze over too. You never know. You're right though. You're right. I can't say that, but just in case. But I'm going to. But it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. You are so amazing in more
Thank
ways than
you.
one.
Oh, thank you.
I've always been a fan of yours, so I'm not going to say I'm a new fan. I've been following you for quite some time.
Thank you.
I'm definitely going to check out more episodes of the podcast,
Mhm.
and I'm hoping to get more of your colleagues on here because it's just a fun time getting to know people who love what they do and getting to know who they are. My final question to you is there anything else you would like to add about yourself, the podcast, your job, or anything at all before we conclude?
Yeah, just tune in for the podcast, Courtside with Karli Bell. Comes out every Monday, anywhere you get your podcasts and also on YouTube. I also have a Patreon that you can subscribe for exclusive content there that comes out on Thursdays. And then make sure you follow the podcast across all platforms at Courtside KB.
Please, y'all, please go check her out. She's
Thank you.
absolutely amazing. It's a great podcast. Definitely go take a listen. Karli, you enjoy your Thursday evening and the rest of your week. And you and I would definitely be in touch.
Absolutely. And I want to hear about that applesauce. You got to let me know about the applesauce. You got
You
to try it.
Oh, you damn straight. I will. There's no question about that. No question. Take care now. Enjoy your
Thanks.
night.
You too, Chris. Bye bye.